In 1995, Tommy, Kimberly, Billy, Rocky, Adam, and Aisha leap into action as the Power Rangers, only this time on the big screen. Yep, the action-packed saga about teenagers who morph into superheroes to protect the world from monsters and evil may have worked on the small screen, but how would it fare up in movie format? Well, this time not only must our heroes face off against Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed, but also Ivan Ooze, an evil purple guy who wants to rule the universe and destroy the Power Rangers leader, Zordon. In order to save their best friend and mentor, the Rangers must travel to another planet and seek help from an ancient warrior. So it's time to morph into action as we explore 10 things that you didn't know about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. It's awesome because it features Ivan Ooze. I really like Ivan Ooze, so let's check it out. Number 10. Rushed into production. So the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TV show made its debut in August 1993. The colourful, action-packed TV show was a combination of footage from a Japanese TV show called Super Sentai, mixed in with new scenes filmed for an American audience. The show was insanely popular and would become an instant phenomenon, which of course would lead to toys and other means of merchandise. Like back then, Power Rangers was everywhere. Every kid was watching it, every kid was playing with the action figures, it was insane. So naturally there was a demand to see more of this teenage fighting superhero team. And so the show became so big, a movie was hastily greenlit in 1994. It is said that things were so rushed, the movie didn't even have a pre-production phase. So yeah, pretty much the movie was rushed into production at super lightning speed in order to capitalize on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers brand as quickly as possible. No questions asked, we need to make this thing. Luxurious mansions and sport cars aren't gonna pay for themselves, you know. Number 9. Replacing iconic characters. The workload put on the young actors who played the Power Rangers was insane. Not only was it a physically demanding job, but the schedule was brutal. The first season of the show alone had 60 episodes, which once again is insane. The second season, which was being made when the movie went into production, also had 53 episodes. Like, this was a big series with a lot of episodes being made. Naturally, for its time, it was the #1 kids show, and thanks to all the merchandise, Power Rangers would have easily been a billion-dollar enterprise. Well, apparently both the cast and crew weren't making much money, despite what a money-making machine Power Rangers had become. Nor were the actors getting paid overtime, as the Power Rangers wasn't a union production. Basically, these kids were stuck in an unfair contract. Haim Saban, who produced the show, presented the cast with a contract to star in 3 movies, and supposedly once again the pay wasn't good. According to Zack actor Walter Emmanuel Jones, the cast got together and realised that this was not a fair contract that they were trying to get signed onto for these movies. A lawyer was even hired to go through the contract, and the lawyer agreed that it wasn't fair. So word has it, the cast was going to stick together and fight the higher-ups at Saban Entertainment. But along the way, Amy Jo Johnson, who played Kimberly, David Yost, who played Billy, and Jason David Frank, who played Tommy, backed out of challenging the powers that be. So because of this, actors Walter Emmanuel Jones, who played Zack, Austin St. John, who played Jason, and Thuy Trang, who played Trini, still stood their ground, feeling like they were being bullied, like they weren't backing down. So they were let go halfway through season 2, with newcomer replacements Karen Ashley as Aisha, Steve Cardenas as Rocky, and Johnny Young Bosch as Adam, replacing the 3 well-established characters. Now, I mean no disrespect to the replacements, but I didn't really like this as a kid, nor did I really understand it. These weren't the characters that I had previously gotten to know and look up to. Why were these new guys suddenly in the show? It's like, yeah, I like you guys, you're just fine, but you're not Jason, Zach, and Trini. Going back to Zach actor Walter Emmanuel Jones, he felt disappointed that his character and the other original characters didn't make it into the film. He said he felt disappointed, as the movie was the catalyst for everything they had been building up to, and that the fans would have wanted to have seen the 6 original Rangers together on film. And yes, I totally agree with him. But behind the scenes, this sent out a loud and clear message to the cast of Power Rangers that no matter how big and popular you may think you are, no one is irreplaceable. And if anyone makes a fuss over fees or contracts, then they can be let go and replaced. Yeah.
Yikes! Awkward burgers. Oh.
Number 8. Setting up base in Australia. Back in those days, not many Hollywood productions were filmed here in Australia, despite the fact that filming here down under is a lot cheaper than Hollywood. Well, it seems the production of the Power Rangers movie caught wind of how much will be saved by filming in Australia, and so rushed to start filming in the land down under. In fact, this is just how chaotic the production was. While the movie was being shot, the production still had to somehow make episodes for the TV show. So simultaneously while filming the movie, the 3-part story, The Wedding, and Return of the Green Ranger were also filmed here in Australia. Now, the wedding storyline in particular was not well received by fans, and considered a low point in the show. Writer-producer Tony Oliver felt the storyline was a result of trying to make episodes of the show while simultaneously making a movie. Yeah, it's just not gonna work out. The Aussie locations used in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie include Sydney and Queensland, and Bombo Quarry located in New South Wales. Now, say what you want to say about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, but I think it actually helped the film industry in Australia, as it got everyone's attention because not too long afterwards, The Matrix was being filmed here, and then not too long after that, George Lucas was coming down here to make some Star Wars movies, and well, the rest was history. Lots of Hollywood films have been made here ever since and still are to this day. Number 7. Power Rangers of Armor. So the Power Rangers get an upgraded look in the movie, where they are no longer wearing spandex, but now a more robust looking high-tech armor. I guess to make the Rangers look theatrical. However, these suits were a nightmare for the cast. They weighed 40 pounds and would cause Amy Jo Johnson in particular to suffer severe back pain. What also didn't help is the cast apparently were really overworked and exhausted during the making of this movie, really bringing moods down and making the filming of this movie an unpleasant experience. Even the actress who played Alpha 5 really struggled and couldn't breathe in that damn costume, of which air had to be fed into the costume by way of a fish tank air pump. And the issues with the new suits don't end there. I can remember a few years ago reading an article by someone who was there on the set, and when taking promotional photos for the movie, the stuntman who was wearing the White Ranger suit kept doing these huge leaps and kicks, despite being asked not to do so, where you can visibly see in some promotional photos his pants have a massive tear in them, with his meat and 2 veg just about on display. Oh god.
And that's the photo they used to promote the movie with? The White Ranger with his junk hanging out? This shows just how hectic and rushed things were with the making of this movie.
Number 6. The director was replaced. So with 20th Century Fox backing this production, the studio hired director Steve Wang to direct this Power Rangers adventure for the big screen, as he had previously directed the movie Guyver Dark Hero, which also involved characters morphing. However, due to creative differences, Wang left the production, so TV cameraman Brian Spicer was quickly drafted in to take over directing duties. There was one problem though. He had never seen a Power Rangers episode before, and didn't know anything about the show or its mythology, so he had to very quickly get up to speed with the mythology and binge a heap of episodes. But despite doing that, it seems that Spicer still didn't really understand Power Rangers, as he was like, hey, you know those visors that the Rangers wear on their helmets? Yeah, what if we lose them so we can see the actors' faces? Yeah, take it from me, someone who's never seen the show before. So scenes were originally shot without the Rangers' helmet visors, and I think that everyone agreed that it looked pretty bad. So thankfully common sense prevailed and it was decided to give the Rangers back their visors. That, and everyone in the Power Rangers universe would know exactly who the Power Rangers are. Number 5. A health crisis led to a recast. So the Power Rangers movie sees some new cast members joining the fun, including Paul Freeman as Ivan Ooze, who is definitely a show stealer in the movie. And as we all know, Freeman previously went up against Indiana Jones, where he played Belloc in Raiders of the Lost Ark. The movie also featured a child actor called Jamie Croft, who was actually a popular Australian child actor at the time. If I remember correctly, he starred in a popular Australian soap drama called A Country Practice. As well as Peter Mockery, who was also a fairly popular Australian TV actor at that time. Oh, and of course, let's not forget the Bulk and Skull return, played by Paul Schreier and Jason Narvi. Also in the movie, we're introduced to Dulcia, a master warrior. The part was originally played by Australian model and actress Gabrielle Fitzpatrick, and several scenes of her in the part were shot. However, she had to leave the production due to an ovarian cyst, so American actress Mariska Hargitay then replaced her. But when filming her scenes, it was felt that Hargitay just wasn't giving the performance the production wanted, so she was let go. But by the time that happened, Fitzpatrick made a complete recovery and so she was recast, and managed to complete all her scenes, no health issues.
Wow, the production of this movie is enough to make you dizzy, and things only get worse from here.
Number 4. Tommy and the Other Power Rangers, the movie. So considering Johnny Young Bosch, Karen Ashley, and Steve Cardenas were fairly new to the show when the production of the movie started, it seems that there may have been favoritism to the older veteran Power Ranger actors, the ones who were there from the start. Where according to an article on Screen Rant, Johnny Young Bosch claims that the production did cater more to the older established cast over the new cast, and that Adam the Black Ranger was to have more scenes in the movie, but didn't because David Yost, who played Billy, complained that he had hardly any scenes. So, why couldn't the Rangers be shared evenly and fairly in this movie? Why was there a fight between the cast over who gets to be put on screen more? Well, I recently saw another YouTube video claiming that Tommy is the main focus in the movie, and I absolutely agree. No matter what happens, Tommy is always front and center, and if anyone ever talks to the Rangers or the group of kids, they always seem to approach Tommy, and Tommy generally does all the talking on behalf of the group.
It feels like the attention must always be put on Tommy and all the other Rangers be damned.
It kind of feels like the other Rangers are really there to be his backup band. Look, I think it's easier with a TV show because its format is episodes. So you can have an episode dedicated to Billy, and then one dedicated to Adam, and then one for Aisha, and so on. But with a movie, you can't really do that. You only have a 1.5 hour window, and there's only so much focus and attention you can put on a cast of 6 main stars. So I think the production thought, that Tommy character is the most popular Ranger, so let's make him front and center, with a less focus on the team and more of a focus on Tommy, with the other guys just in the background.
I didn't really notice it as a kid, but yeah, if you pay attention, the movie is very Tommy-centric. Thank you to that YouTube video, of which I sadly can't remember the name, for pointing that out.
Number 3. The production had to trick the public into being extras. So going back to Screen Rant, the producers wanted to end the movie with a bang by showing a pretty rocking party at Angel Grove. There was one problem though. The production probably couldn't afford to have all these extras. So the production had the media announce to the public to come down to the Darling Harbour in Sydney in order to meet and greet with the Power Rangers, as well as winning prizes and free giveaways. So as you can imagine, a heap of kids and their no doubt annoyed parents turned up to the location, only to not be greeted by the Power Rangers per se, and to find out later down the track that they were unknowingly used as extras for a movie.
Yep, not only did this movie manage to piss off its cast, but the entire city of Sydney. That's an achievement.
Okay, to be fair, it did look like everyone was having fun, so, everyone had a good time. Regardless, this movie seems like one hectic mother to shoot. And I'm pretty sure the cast and crew probably would have been happy to be done with the filming and to get back home. And if things couldn't get any worse, while filming a fight scene, Jason David Frank knocked out a stuntman. Okay, so to be fair, the stuntman did ask him to kick him harder when they were filming the scene. And so he did, and it was lights out for a while as the stuntman had a little sleep. And can we just take a moment to talk about the music in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie? The score was done by New Zealand composer Graham Revell, and he has actually scored several big Hollywood movies, including The Crow, From Dusk Till Dawn, Freddy vs. Jason, The Pineapple Express, and many, many more. Now in the scene where the Rangers get their powers back with Dulcia, you'll notice this music is being used. Well, this is actually a recycled piece of music Revell had previously composed for the 1989 Australian miniseries Bangkok Hilton, which starred Nicole Kidman. A very serious drama worlds apart from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But, the music still oddly works. Number 2, deleted scenes. So in the original script, when the Rangers come face to face with Ivan Ooze, he created some evil rat creatures that the Rangers had to fight. However, when it came to filming the scene, it was felt the rat creatures looked too crap and like something cheaper that you'll see in the TV show. So the rat creatures were replaced by ooze men. But the rat creatures would go on to be used for the TV episode Return of the Green Ranger, which was being filmed simultaneously with the movie as mentioned. There was a removed scene where Dulcia was training the Power Rangers and getting them acquainted with their new powers. All up, about 12 minutes were cut from this sequence, and it's said that the character Dulcia gets more of a backstory in this deleted material. There was also a more intense fight between the Rangers and the bird creatures, but some of these scenes had to be cut as it was considered too brutal. Apparently, it was going to be quite a bloody affair, where we would see the Rangers get cuts and other injuries. Yeah, something that you've never actually seen in the show.
Look, I guess at the end of the day, it's all about getting little Timmy to go and see this beast. And little Timmy ain't going to be watching if we see our heroes get cuts and scrapes.
Number 1, No Power Rangers. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie was released on June the 30th, 1995, and you would think its release would take off with a bang, with a bunch of excited kids and their annoyed parents being dragged to the movie theatre. But that wasn't the case. The movie only made $66.4 million on its $15 million budget, so although it made its money back, it was still much lower than anticipated, especially considering the franchise it's based on. So, why did its release tank? Especially considering what a massive franchise Power Rangers had become? Well, because it just couldn't compete against other movies at that time, like Batman Forever, Apollo 13, and Pocahontas. I can remember Batman Forever in particular being the franchise movie of that time that everyone was going to see. Like, you couldn't compete against this thing. The movie, of course, didn't get the best reviews either, with it being felt that the movie is just an extended episode of the show, only given a strangely different movie aesthetic. I think the meanest review came from Roger Ebert, because of course it did, who awarded the movie half a star out of 4 and likened it to synthetic food. Look, when I was a kid, I enjoyed the Power Rangers TV show, so I actually did really enjoy the movie and found it to be lots of fun. But at that time, I couldn't figure out why, in many ways, it looked and felt different to the TV show. For example, why are their costumes so different? Why does Zordon look different? Why does Alpha 5 look different? Why is this movie taking place in Sydney, Australia? But I just figured that this was an alternative timeline, and saw this movie as being like the Masters of the Universe movie equivalent of the Power Rangers. Yeah, because of the way that movie looks and feels different to its source material. Yeah, the Power Rangers movie was the Masters of the Universe movie of the 90s. Now I know that both of these movies are not masterpieces, but I still get a bit of cheeky enjoyment out of both of them. The only thing I didn't like was the horrific CGI, which just gets worse with age. I mean, come on, this thing has aged as well as milk. And this trend of getting popular TV shows of the moment and making movies out of them would continue, as the following year the Bean movie would come out, and the year after that, 20th Century Fox would dabble again with turning a popular TV show into a movie with the X-Files movie, which did have better degrees of success. But regardless, I think if you were a kid who grew up with the Power Rangers movie, it'll still make you smile, for if anything, taking you back to those more simpler times of the 90s. So if you choose to go on a trip down memory lane and watch this movie again, just remember, it's morphin' time.
So, I think that about wraps everything up. Yeah, look, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie is no masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination. But to me, I still find that kid in me enjoying it. I always found it a novelty to see this big and slightly different theatrical world of the Power Rangers. Anyway, I'm Minty, and remember, if you ooze, you lose. See ya! Oh god, can I go to bed now? I am way too sick for this shit.